You already believe in something you cannot prove. Maybe you call it God. Maybe you call it the universe, fate, karma, or just a feeling that things happen for a reason. It doesn't matter what you call it. What matters is that every single human who has ever lived on this planet has done the same thing. Every culture, every continent, every era, no exceptions. And that is not a religious statement. That is one of the most remarkable facts in the entire history of science. So why did we build gods? The real answer has nothing to do with ignorance, and everything to do with how your brain was built to survive. Let's start with a concept called agency detection. Your ancestors lived in a world that was trying to kill them. Predators in the grass, poison in the plants, disease in the water, rivals in the next valley. In that world, the most dangerous mistake you could make was to see movement in the bushes and assume it was the wind. Because 9 times out of 10 it was the wind. But the 10th time, it was a leopard, and you were dead. So evolution built a brain with a simple rule. When in doubt, assume something is behind it. Assume intention. Assume agency. The brains that saw faces in the clouds and heard voices in the thunder survived. The ones that didn't were eaten. Your brain is the descendant of 10,000 generations of paranoid ancestors who assumed everything had a cause and a mind behind it. Scientists call this the hyperactive agency detection device, and it fires constantly. It is why you feel watched in an empty room. It is why you see faces in wood grain and toast. It is why the first humans looked at lightning and did not think weather event. They thought someone is angry. But agency detection alone does not explain gods. It explains why humans see intention everywhere. The next piece is pattern recognition. Your brain is the most sophisticated pattern-finding machine that has ever existed. It finds patterns in data, in behavior, in nature, and it cannot turn off. Studies by psychologist Peter Brugger found that people who score high on belief in the supernatural also score high on pattern recognition in random noise. They are not less intelligent. Their brains are simply more aggressive at finding connections. The same cognitive trait that built science, music, mathematics, and language also built religion. Same brain, same mechanism, different output. And then there is the third piece, death. You are the only animal on Earth that knows it is going to die. Dogs do not lie awake dreading the end. Elephants do not build philosophies to cope with mortality. But you do. You have always done it. The oldest burial sites ever found are over 300,000 years old. Homo sapiens were placing flowers and tools alongside their dead long before civilization existed, long before writing, long before cities. The ritual of burial, the act of treating the dead as if they were going somewhere, appears at the very dawn of what it means to be human. Your ancestors did not invent gods because they were primitive. They invented gods because they were the first creatures smart enough to understand that they were going to die. And that understanding required an answer. In 2006, cognitive scientist Pascal Boyer published research arguing that gods are not a cultural invention. They are a cognitive inevitability. Given a brain with hyperactive agency detection, aggressive pattern recognition, and full awareness of mortality, gods are what you get, every time, without fail, across every culture that has ever existed. Boyer studied hundreds of religious traditions across the world and found that despite their surface differences, they all share the same basic cognitive architecture. Supernatural agents who are interested in human behavior, who reward and punish, who exist outside the normal rules of death and time. The specific stories differ. The underlying template is identical. Because the template is not cultural, it is neurological. So here is the part that should change how you see everything. The question was never whether humans would believe in gods. Given the brain evolution built, it was inevitable. The real question is what that tells us about ourselves. We are the species that looked at a universe of random, indifferent forces, lightning, disease, drought, death, and refused to accept that it meant nothing. We built minds so powerful, so hungry for meaning and connection and pattern, that we populated the entire cosmos with intention, with story, with purpose. That is not a weakness. Every cathedral ever built, every prayer ever spoken, every myth ever told around every fire that ever burned, all of it came from the same place. A brain so desperate to understand the world that it would rather invent an answer than live without one. You are not descended from believers and non-believers. You are descended from meaning makers, every single one of them. And that hunger for meaning, that refusal to accept that the thunder is just thunder, is the same hunger that built science, art, music, and every civilization that has ever existed. We built gods because we could not help it, because the brain that builds gods is the same brain that builds everything else. And we have never stopped building.